I want you to get ready to embark on a transformative journey where there's no more suffering in silence, no more conforming to outdated societal norms. This is the podcast where we dare to crush those societal expectations and embrace the realities of pregnancy and parenthood with one honest conversation at a time. It's time for us to rise above the shadows and ignite a movement towards a happier, more fulfilled world for every parent and child. If that's you and you're ready to challenge the status quo and embark on this incredible journey with me, then I'd like to welcome you to the Birth Junkie Podcast. Welcome back to the Birth Junkie Podcast. I'm here with Bree. She is a wealth strategist. She is an amazing human being. And today we're going to talk about financial stuff and what it has to do with birth work and how it can affect your birth experience in a sense. So when you were preparing to give birth, did you want a doula when you were, planning for that?
I did. I wanted to have a doula, like midwife, the whole shebang, to be able to help me through it. Even kind of said maybe I might help her at the house. That might be a little too radical for me personally, but to each their own. But I guess I'm a bit systemized, so I kind of feel like I have to be in a hospital giving birth for some reason. Not that I've had great experiences giving birth at a hospital, but if something goes wrong, I do want to have help.
Yes, no, that makes total sense. So you ended up not having a doula or anything. And what was the specific reason why?
Because doulas aren't covered by insurance. So that's the main reason why they were not covered by insurance. We had great insurance, but I couldn't find one that accepted any.
Yeah.
They didn't accept any kind of insurance. So it's that makes it very difficult. Just here in America, our healthcare system is screwed, if you ask me. A lot of conversations I've had with my husband about whether or not he should stay at a job is because I'll be like, oh, but the health insurance, they give us great health insurance, or they give us lower cost health insurance than other people would be. We're a family of 6. I don't want to pay $1,000 a month in health insurance. So $400 to $500 a month is a good price for health insurance, which is still crazy.
Yes. The exact word I would use for it, crazy.
Yeah.
And I totally get it because we're a family of 6 too. So, it's hard to figure out the best route to go so that you're not breaking the bank just on insurance alone. And that doesn't even include anything else. But yeah, it seems like there is things that are changing in the birth world. I'm in California and we barely started a program where insurance covers doulas. But it's only if you're on Medi-Cal. So Medi-Cal, which I don't know if you know, but what Medi-Cal, what Medi-Cal is?
I'm guessing it's California's version of Medicaid.
Exactly. Yes. So that's what we have. And they just started offering it. But, since it's in the beginning stages, a lot of doulas are not even considered doula providers yet. So there's still the process of doulas becoming providers that can accept Medi-Cal. And I'm actually in the process too, because I would love to be able to offer this service to people who can't afford it. Or, it's just not in their financial budget at the time, because of course you're preparing for a baby, you're preparing for your postpartum, it's a huge change. And, I think that's one way that we can help. But, as I would love to know, as a wealth strategist, how would you recommend somebody go about, I don't know, saving for it or paying for that type of expense?
Well, you don't have an unplanned pregnancy, that's for sure. My son, he was not unplanned at all. He was very much so planned. But I did not plan out the doula process or how much that would cost and having that saved up. And so the way that I would structure it is to find out the cost up front. And then if you're going to be getting pregnant, or when you want to be pregnant, and some pregnancies are just, everyone's different. Some of us can work through our pregnancy. Some of us can't, just depending on your line of work and your symptoms of pregnancy. Okay. Because sometimes these babies be trying to take us out of here. So
yes.
So It varies, right? Everything varies. So I would definitely say, like, try to do as much as you can before pregnancy even begins, just so that you'll have in your head, oh, it may be $4,000 or $2,500 or $10,000. I have no idea. But it just depends on where you are and finding who rubs you the best and you think will be the best to help you through that process. And so once you find out how much they cost, then you just put a budget for it, and you can just make it simple. If it's $10,000, it's $1,000 a month, and you'll have it. And maybe you start saving for it 5 months before you plan to get pregnant, so that it's already paid up for in your savings by the time you're approaching your third trimester, because the third trimester is the worst trimester. Like, I don't know. For me, I have great pregnancies, but I just felt like a cow, and I just did not want to move. I wanted naps all the time. I had those slight jolts of energy to like clean everything, and then it would be like time for a nap. Like, yep. it was like serious nap time. So it's like, I don't know, but when it comes to that, I would just try and have that beforehand and just plan it out. And then there's other things to plan for too, on top of a doula. How long do you want to take off of work? How long do you want to spend with just you and your baby? 6 weeks was not enough for me, and I work from home. I took 3 months. I was paid in full for the first 6 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks because I had to have an emergency C-section with Nehemiah, as we know. And then afterwards, for the last 4 to 5 weeks, I only got disability, which was like 60% pay, which is still a good position to be in. Now, my husband, I made him take off for 2 months. And that was before I even knew that there would be an emergency C-section. I was just like, you're going to be here with me and this baby. Like, I'm not struggling alone. Like, we're a party of two. We both got into this. We're both going to work through this. And that was awesome to have him home with me, because I really did go through a bout of like postpartum depression a little bit, just because of the C-section itself. No, like, not wanting my baby or anything, but just feeling so horrible that I couldn't be as independent as I wanted to. Still to this day, I hate my bedroom door being closed if I'm not going to sleep. Like, if I'm just in the room for a moment, I'm like, if I'm not naked, keep that door open, okay? Like, I'm not locked in here anymore. Because I couldn't make it up and down the steps. I would go, it was like, if I was going downstairs, I was downstairs for the day. And once I came up, that was it. I was upstairs for the day, for the first few weeks. So planning for that and not having any income for those couple of months was a big undertaking. So it was something we were planned for, but we weren't planned to have the doula as well. So it's like, there's a lot of expenses that can go into it. And then if you even just think about getting a SNU, you already spent $1,000 in your brain right there, because just for thinking about it costs $1,000.
Yes.
And I got me like some SNU adjacent stuff, because just buying a whole SNU, I just couldn't wrap my mind around. But I may get a SNU for the next one. But I plan to be very wealthy. But there's some things where it just seems like you have to be wealthy in order to have a great pregnancy and like after experience with that. And that's just not cool.
Yeah. And that sucks that we feel that way, like we have to have all this money in order to have the support, all the baby items, or, whatever it may be. But, my goal is to make it so that it's attainable for everybody, no matter what your social or economic status even is, because we all deserve to have that support. And like, some ways that I offer to my personal clients, and my rate is $1,500 for the birth, for birth doula. And so that includes like birth education, that includes like, we have prenatal visits together up to 4, and then we have after the birth visits to like have a birth debrief about how their birth was and everything, and try to just like see where your mind is at, so we can work through things. Because for me, it's not just a job where it starts and stops at a certain point. I want to make sure that my client feels confident, supported, loved, and just taken care of, because we deserve to have, us taken care of, because we're trying to take care of another human being on top of healing from either a surgery or a birth, whatever the birth may be. Yeah. And it's hard. So like, I offer payment plans for my clients, and it's, we have a bunch of different payment plans. It's all unique to the person. But there's
Yeah.
also, like you said, budgeting for it. I wish I knew about doulas before, because I never knew about them until I had my fourth baby. So if I would have known about them before, I definitely would have planned ahead. But also there's something called Be Her Village. So this is a gift registry, but for services, support services. And this could include like prenatal massage, chiropractic, birth doula support, postpartum doula support, lactation support, whatever support you need leading up to or after your pregnancy. So what it is people can just donate to it, and then you can use that, whatever the money, you want to allocate it towards, use that money for that service. So, I mean, we're
Wow.
getting there. We're trying to get there, but it takes time and momentum to get there, and putting the word out there, which is my goal too.
Yes, I've never heard of any of that. And let me just say, you are extremely affordable, especially to be in California. I would have thought you would have been like $5,000 to $10,000, just because of like location and just the intimacy of it in the medical field and like all of that. So I mean, that's amazing. I wish you were in Virginia. But that is like phenomenal. So whoever is hearing this, take advantage of it, because I mean, like, it's unheard of. I'm here in Virginia, and I know for a fact that I heard, at least at the minimum, the lowest price I may have heard was $2,500, just to
Wow.
start off. And I was just like, I can't afford that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a CPA. My husband's a welder. We're regular everyday people. I'm a wealth strategist, but I'm not wealthy yet. I've just made great, smart money decisions. And so I don't have a lot of money where, $2,500 is like, the same as spending $25 or $250. No, $2,500 is still painful. So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
2,500 on this, or 2,500 on making sure my baby has everything that he needs and our bills are still paid while my husband stays home with me during those first 8 weeks. And I mean, and having, even though I had my husband home with me, my mother-in-law came over one day and cleaned, which was phenomenal. My aunt-in-law came over, brought us food. I mean, awesome. My mom was over here like every day, slept at the hospital with me. I definitely have an amazing support system. So like, don't get it wrong. And still, like, it was not enough while I was going through that funk. Like,
Right.
just knowing that, like, hey, I need to get out this room. I need to, even if you gotta will me outside and give me fresh air, because like, I I notice it now looking back, but I didn't even know then at the time that I was in a depression. But I was definitely in it, and I was like, it was dark. It was a very dark place where it was just like, I felt miserable, worthless, like confidence was at zero, just from the fact that I couldn't bathe myself. I felt confined to my room with my baby all the time. He's breastfed, so I always had him. And like, my husband would disappear sometimes to play on his phone downstairs and get a breather himself, because he needed a breather, because he's up until, our son didn't know what day and night was for a little while there. So he's up in the middle of the night with me. He's exhausted. He's trying to sneak a nap. Like, and I'm like, I notice you're not here, dude. I have nothing better to do but look at a sleeping baby or breastfeed and like I'm a cow or something, and just sit here in this bed, because I can't even make it downstairs without you. So it was a trying time. It was a very difficult time.
Definitely. And, those are all the things that I feel like we don't talk about enough, and it's like, sometimes, it's just, we want somebody to even just come in and talk to us, just somebody out of the norm, like, just talk about either like your experience that you went through, or how you're feeling, you as a person, because a lot of times after we have babies, I've noticed that people are like, oh, how's the baby? How's the baby? They're not really like, so how are you?
At all. No one cares about the mom. They only care about the baby. Everyone's asking how's the baby. The baby's perfectly fine. Do you see him? He's breathing. He's happy. He's gaining weight. There's no problems. Do you see her? She's breathing. She's happy. Like, they poop, they pee, they smile, maybe, and they sleep all day. Like, the baby's perfectly fine. I understand wanting baby cuddles. I love baby cuddles. But also, like, mom needs cuddles too. Mom needs to be able
Exactly.
to, like, cry for maybe an hour or something, like, or to just like breathe and like not feel like, I really felt like a cow. I hate using that word over and over, but that's how I felt, because I was like, I'm being milked and I'm big as a house right now, and I can't move much, and I'm moving so slow, and I just felt like, oh. And I know there has to be other mamas that have felt this way, but I definitely felt like just, oh.
Yeah. And you
And I
feel
needed
alone.
that support. Yeah, very alone. Very
Yeah.
alone. Because people only come, maybe the first couple weeks, you see a ton of people. Or you see mom every day and mother-in-law every other day or something. The most time I saw people was like at the hospital. It was like my vagina was out for all my closest family members to see. My grandpa was there, my father was there, my mother-in-law was there, my mom was there, my husband was there. Now, my husband and my mom, I don't mind them seeing all my parts. They've seen them before. Y'all will be all right. My dad, my grandfather, my mother-in-law, it's like we got real personal that day. My grandmother, again, didn't mind her, but I mean, everyone was just seeing my pieces. But then it's like, where are you guys afterwards? Like, some of them that came, I had great support, but still, the support that's needed on the mom is so much greater than the baby. The baby's always taken care of. Mom is going to take care of that baby at the expense of herself at all times. I know I
Yes.
will. I know other moms will too. But mom, who's taking care of mom? Who's making sure that she's okay? So like those massages and stuff. You said, what's the name of that again? We need that.
Like,
Her
oh,
village. Her
be her
village.
village. Be her village.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna get me one of those next time. But I'm gonna be
Yes.
wealthy before the next one, because I'm gonna be able to pay for my own. I'm gonna be like, take these kids. I'm going to get my massage. See ya.
Exactly. No, I love that so much. So I want to go back to like the doula for you. So was there like any certain reasons why you specifically like wanted a doula?
Because while pregnancy has been beautiful for me, labor has been beyond difficult. Um, so not going to go into my whole birth story again. You guys can listen to the other episode for that. But my daughter took 40 hours of labor, and they were threatening to give me a C-section or cut me if I didn't go ahead and deliver. Them breaking my water, the Pitocin, none of it helped it move along faster. So that was like, I don't want to do this again. So I started going to the chiropractor before having my son. I went to the chiropractor for like a year straight beforehand, because I'm like, I'm going to have the fastest delivery ever. And like, I was preparing, and it did not help at all. And so I still go to the chiropractor because it still does help with like my neck and stuff. I'm at a computer all day. But nonetheless, it did not help at all with that labor being faster. My son was 33 and a half hours of labor, I think, or maybe 36.
Wow.
So about 33 and a half. All I know is he was born at like 1:30 something in the morning. I think my labor started around like 3:30 p.m. on a Monday. He came at 1 something in the morning on a Wednesday. Somebody else do the math. I don't even have time. But it was like
Right.
somewhere between 33 and a half, 36 and a half hours, somewhere like that. And it was, and then they had to cut me because stroke levels for heart rates and blood pressure and the whole nine. And so yeah, I still wish I would have had one. I wish I would have had a doula there to say, hey, don't check her over and over again because you're going to cause an infection. Because that's what they did. A midwife came and checked me. Then the doctor would come right behind and check me 5 minutes later. Why are all these hands going up and in me? Like, you can't just take their word for it. Y'all are going to give me an infection. My water has already broke. Y'all should know this because you're medical personnel. Like, if anyone knows this, the doctor and the midwife should know this and say, hey, look, only one of us are going to check her, and we're only going to check her at this amount of time. Like, I also even like my breastfeeding person, like, and I took an online course for that, which helped tremendously. Mind you, I didn't even watch a lot of it. I only watched like 1 or 2 videos, but it made my breastfeeding experience so much better this time because I couldn't breastfeed with my first. So I attempted to for 6 months before I finally gave up, because I just was not producing enough, or that's what I was told. And so with this one, I really just watched a few minutes of her videos just to learn how to latch properly and make sure to stay hydrated and drinking water. And it made a world of difference. I'm still breastfeeding my son. He's over 1 now. He's 15 months, going on 16 months in a week. And we're still breastfeeding. And it's been lovely. And he's never needed a supplement. He's never had formula. He's never had cow's milk or any kind of animal milk. He's only got a milk from his mama. Like, that makes me feel amazing that I could do that. So it was like all the things. I wanted it because labor was the devil, and also because I wanted to breastfeed my babies, because I felt like a failure as a mom when I couldn't breastfeed my first. And it really was because there just wasn't support, and they were a decade apart too. So I was like fresh on this, because I'm like, I've waited so long between kids. Somebody help a sister out. Like,
Yeah.
I have 4 kids, but I've only had to birth 2 of them, praise the Lord. So I needed some help. Like, somebody tell me, what do we do?
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, I love that. I love that. Yes. And that is like the main reason why people want a doula, because, you know, a doula can help give you resources. They can help give you that education, answer questions, because obviously we're so deep inside birth work that we know things that are come natural to us that we just know. We're like, oh, yeah, it's this. To you, you'd be like, oh, okay, you know, because that's not your specialty. So obviously, like, you're a wealth strategist. I'm not. No, you ask me numbers or how to, no, I don't know. Like, that's beyond my mind, you know? So that makes total sense. And so I would love to kind of dive a little deeper into like what exactly you do in order to like help families so that they can transition into having children. I know we kind of talked about it on how you kind of prepared, but what would you suggest people do with their finances in order to help support that postpartum or pregnancy through postpartum, you know, when dealing with how to manage their finances?
So when managing finances, I always say you need a plan. And so some people think financial plans are for rich people. No, financial plans are for anyone that wants to be wealthy. And so what I do is I create custom financial plans for my clients, whether they go through my course or they work one-on-one with me. Either way, they're working with me. I know a lot of people with courses or programs, you don't see the person in them. I like to be all up and through there to help you through it, because people need support. So I found a way to make it so that it's custom no matter what, but we still go through the same steps. And so for me, it's big on making sure you know your goals first and foremost. So maybe your goal is to have a baby within the next year, and you want to be able to have a doula, and you want to be able to take off 3 months, 6 months from working, so that you can spend more time with that baby. Maybe you're going to quit your job and you're going to come stay home for 3 years. I don't want my son to go into daycare until he's 3 years old. Right now he's only 1, not even 1.5. So we still have a ways to go before I really truly want him somewhere else, because I want him to be able to tell me who did what, why they did it, and how they did it. And what for. Like, I want him to be able to explain everything to me in detail before I trust him with another human being. Call me a helicopter mom. That's my business. That's my personal preference. And if you're a helicopter mama like me and you want to be with your baby the whole time, then we need to figure out how we're going to make that transition. The way I made my transition was I still worked from home. And that was that got difficult. As a tax CPA, busy season got difficult. And then God told me to quit my job. And so I had to leave without a plan, and I'm still trusting him to see me through it. But for others, I can help you plan for that. And we can say, okay, you want to come off the job. This is how much we need to have saved. This is what are you going to be doing next to bring in income? Can you survive just off of your spouse's income? If you're doing this alone, what kind of things do we need to have beforehand? I talk about retiring early. I help them with whatever their goal may be. We're just reaching your version of success. What's success for me and what's success for you may be different, and that's okay. As long as we get to our version, that's all that matters. We're not in competition with anyone, but we do need a plan. So we get very crystal clear on those goals. And I'm talking dream goals, not just the ones you think you can achieve. We're throwing away the American dream and picking up Petra's dream. We're picking up Bree's dream. We're picking up Michelle's dream, whoever. We're going to pick up their dream instead. And we're going to have our own dream for our life. And that's what we're striving towards. We're going through a budget, put our money where our mouth is with a budget, and actually making sure that the way that we spend is in line with the goals that we claim to have. And then we're going to save. We're going to get out of debt. We're going to repair our credit so that if we do need to go into debt, we're going to get the lowest interest rates because we're in the 800 club. And then we're going to look at investment options. And hopefully that's the only reason we're going into debt is because we're buying up so much real estate that it's crazy. And we don't want to use our own money. We want to use other people's money. So we look at all of that. And I also talk about investing in yourself in a business and investing in yourself through the stock market. Whichever way, we go through different investment strategies between business, real estate, and the stock market to figure out what's going to be best for each individual. And it can be all, it could be one or two. It's whatever works for you. But we just go through the plan. And it, as you can hear, it sounds lengthy. It's like, whoo, that's a lot. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time. We work together for a little while. It takes 8 weeks inside of my program that I have, the financial freedom plan. And then if one-on-one, some people work with me for 6 months to a year, just to iron out. And sometimes we get a lot deeper because finances are more than just money. Usually the roadblocks for some people may be spiritual, it may be financial. And I'm not a counselor at all. But I am a Christian. So those that come to me that are Christians as well, if we're talking about faith, we can talk about it and we can have a conversation about that. And we can like go into that and I'll be a sounding ear and I can just, help through that process. So, and then I also recommend counselors. I'm all about therapy. I love therapy. So I recommend you might need to go get one because I can't help you, sis. Like you might need to go get a therapist for this one, but I just love working with parents to reach their goals and their version of success. Like it makes me so happy. A client made my day this week. Like she hit me up and she was like, "Hey, I was just working on my credit and bettering myself. And for some reason, I always think of you." And I was like, compliment. And then she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna, instead of us buying our house in July like we planned, it looks like it's gonna be March now." And then it may even be sooner, like just because she's doing the work, she's paying off her debt, she's getting reaching her goals and like is a rock star killing it. And I'm just like, oh, that is so amazing. Like that made my day. So I mean, really and truly, like, oh, it's possible. You just got to be like willing to change your way of thinking and do the work.
Yeah, definitely. And oh my gosh, I can feel your passion like behind the work that you're doing. So I feel like you're doing God's work right now. And that is amazing. Like I'm ready to jump on your train right now because it just sounds so beautiful. And I think it is important to include finances in pregnancy, in postpartum, because so many times like we avoid the topic of money because it's uncomfortable. And especially if we didn't grow up talking about money, it can be like, ooh, I don't know, let's just
why it's uncomfortable? Because people don't understand it. That's the only thing. And then the thing that really ticks me off is that there's people in this space that are finance people or finance experts or gurus, and they try and make it more complicated. And honestly, there are accountants that I've had to help with their finances because little do people know, when it comes to accounting, you're not learning how to deal with your personal finances. You're learning how to deal with business finances. And it's more so about taxes, auditing, proper reporting. It's not necessarily about budgeting. Do you have a budget? Yeah, but it's just, it looks completely different on the business side than it does on the personal side. And what an accountant does, it doesn't necessarily always make you profitable. It's just making sure that you report things properly. And so when you get into the other space on the personal finance side, you have a lot of people that claim to know about taxes, but they have no tax training whatsoever. They usually don't have degrees at all. And so they're financial advisors and they want to charge you tens of thousands of dollars or a percentage of your wealth just to be able to give you a free financial plan. It's free if I have to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least $50,000 is usually a minimum for most people. You have to be ready to invest 50,000 or more before they even want to have a conversation with you. So some of them have a minimum. And then if you're on the lower part of that spectrum, then the higher percent that they'll take. It's only 2%. 2% sounds a little like chump change, right? We get 2% cash rewards on our credit card, but 2% on tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then when the market is going down and they're still taking 2%, so you didn't lose 8% in the market, you lost 10% because they're managing your money while it's losing money. When you can just manage it yourself and avoid that and avoid some of these fees. And then if the market's doing great and now you're gaining 20%, no, you only gain 18% because your advisor's fees. But that's not also counting the fees of whatever they're putting you in, or the fees of the trades and stuff like that. So, I mean, and then a lot of financial advisors don't do budgeting or don't know how to handle their finances themselves. They may know how to make a lot of money, but they don't know how to actually sustain that money or to budget that money properly or take care of that money. Still, when I talk to financial planners, they're like, if you don't have a lot of money, then what do you need a plan for? I've literally heard people say that. And I'm like, it's like, what do they have to plan for? It's not that complicated. And it's like, people need to understand financial literacy. They need help with budgeting, saving, getting out of debt, creating wealth. They need help. And so there's different avenues to get there. And no, I'm not cheap. So I know I said that other people are causing you, hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands or millions of your money. I'm not costing you that much, but I do cost, like, my minimum program is $2,000. So it's not like it's the cheapest thing to work with me, but at the same time, you're getting someone that understands business finances, personal finances, also has a heart of with integrity. I'm not going to put myself on a high horse and say I have the heart of Jesus. I'm working towards having a heart like Jesus, though. And so I'm generally a good person, and I really care about my clients, and I care about what they want to do, and I care about them reaching their goals and their version of success. Like, I'm in it with them. I have resigned from caring more than they do because that did not work for me. That caused a lot of frustration. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. So I did resign from that position a few years ago. But nonetheless, I love being able to help people reach their goals and make a better life for their babies and create generational wealth and enjoy their life now. So it's like, yes, let's create wealth for the next 3 generations. And let's also have a ton of fun in this lifetime because we only have one.
Yes. So. Oh my gosh, you're speaking to my heart right now. Definitely. Yes. And that's scary what you said about them not realizing how to oh my gosh, that boggles my mind. I didn't even realize that they come to you. Oh my gosh, that's kind of scary. I mean, not to say that's scary to go to you, but that they don't even know they need outside help to help you figure out your money situation. Oh my gosh, that makes
There's a ton of accountants that don't manage their money well. I mean, because our job, it doesn't require us to truly manage money. I mean, all we have to do is report money or categorize money, but you don't have to necessarily manage it. That we're not money managers. And then those that manage money, they're managing investments. So just because you know how to maybe invest properly, or you may know about some tricks to grow some wealth, that's great, but that does not mean you know how to manage it. Managing and investing, managing and categorizing, it's just 2 completely different things. And I do know how to do it all. I know how to manage it. I know how to invest it. I know how to categorize it and find a penny when it's missing, because that's the CPA in me. We're going to find every penny. We will look under every rock. But it's just different, and it's just about knowing what people are doing. So you don't have to maybe they have a good credit score, but sometimes you can get really good at robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And I feel like you've opened up a whole world to our audience, and they're going to benefit from this so much. So I would love it if somebody wanted to work with you or connect with you. What would be the best way for them to do that?
The best way is to go on my website. So that's B as in Bree, D as in day, smithfinancial.com. So bdsmithfinancial.com. That's where you could schedule a call with me. Even if it's just a quick chat, I have like quick chats up there where it's like, hey, look, I just want to get a vibe from you, Bree. I don't want you to sell me a thing. Let's just chat for 10, 15 minutes and let's get to know about each other. Or if you're like, hey, look, you're my kind of girl, then you can schedule a financial breakthrough call up there. So you can definitely look to schedule a call with me. And then on all social media, I'm at Bree Smith CPA. So Facebook, what is it? Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads, and Clubhouse. Bree Smith CPA.
All the outlets.
Yeah, and Twitter, now X. I think I'm still at Bree_D Smith because I don't know how to change my username up there, and I'm not that savvy up there because I don't go up there. So
Okay, good. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for opening the scope of this episode. Like, wow, it's so important to help on any journey, whether you're pregnant or not. So thank you so much for taking the time today. I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me and just allowing me to be here with your audience. It has been a pleasure.
Definitely. All right, I'll chat with you soon.
Sounds great.
Oh my gosh, I feel so honored that you took the time out of your busy day to listen to that episode. I really hope that you liked it or something resonated with you or you learned something new today. Make sure to hit subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to connect with me, go ahead and go to the show notes and click the link. I'd love for you to rate and review this show. That helps more people see this show when they're searching. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day. I will see you next week.